More debris as large parts of the plane have been spotted at the bottom of the Java Sea using sonar technology.
Indonesia's chief of search and rescue said Wednesday the recovery operation has been delayed due to low visibility, but also stormy weather and high tides. So far, 7 bodies have been found in the main search zone off the coast of Borneo, including one crew member who was wearing an Air Asia flight attendant uniform. In order to speed up the ID process, authorities have been gathering DNA samples and photographs from victims' relatives. Investigators are trying to figure out why the plane suddenly lost contact on Sunday morning without any prior distress call. So along with the bodies of some 160 people on board, authorities are looking for the black box recorders. A public memorial is planned to be held in Surabaya this evening, local time, to pray for the victims and their families.
And ringing in a new year, South Korean President Park Geun-hye reached out to the Korean people on YouTube and Facebook on this Wednesday for her New Year's message.
And she spent most of it talking about 2 things, the economy and North Korea. Our Ji Myung-gil has more.
President Park Geun-hye started off her New Year's address wishing all Koreans a healthy and happy 2015 in the year of the sheep. She said her top priority over the coming year was reinvigorating the economy.
창의와 혁신의 기반을 둔 경제로 체질을 바꿔가면서 국민소득 4만 불 시대를 여는 기반을 다져가겠습니다.
President Park also addressed national security matters, promising to open an era of unification for the 2 Koreas.
단절과 갈등의 분단 70년을 마감하고 신뢰와 변화로 북한을 이끌어내서 실질적이고 구체적인 통일 기반을 구축하고 통일의 길을 열어갈 것입니다.
She also promised to root out irregularities in society to make Korea a safer place to live. President Park said due to the spirit of the Korean people, she was confident that Korea will be able to overcome any difficulty or challenge in the new year. Ji Myung-gil, Arirang News.
U.S. security experts investigating the recent cyber attack on Sony Pictures say North Korea might be innocent after all.
Cyber intelligence firm Norse Corporation claims that 6 disgruntled former Sony employees could have hacked into the company's network. The firm says it did not find any evidence that North Korea was behind this attack. Norse is not part of the official FBI investigation, but the firm briefed the government on Monday. The U.S. State Department, however, is sticking to the FBI's findings that Pyongyang is responsible for the attack. Now, for the latest in the nut rage incident, the former vice president of Korean Air has been taken into custody now on charges of violating aviation safety laws, coercion, and impeding crew in their duties in the now infamous nut rage incident.
The 40-year-old heiress to the nation's flagship air carrier stands accused of ordering a plane to turn back on the runway in New York in order to kick the chief steward off the flight after she was incorrectly served a bag of nuts.
Now, those are the top headlines of the last day of 2014 for us. And let's get ready to say goodbye to 2014 and say hello to a brand new year, 2015. And to do that, we're going to check out the biggest New Year's Eve event in Seoul.
And that would be the traditional Poshingak Pavilion bell ringing ceremony. And that's exactly where our Kwon So-ah is standing by for us tonight. So a happy new year.
Happy New Year, guys. Now I'm here at one of the places to be on New Year's Eve. Around 100,000 people are expected to be here tonight to be part of this big event. It's around -5 degrees Celsius here tonight, but the cold doesn't seem to matter, especially to the crowds that have been here already hours before the official event kicks off in around 90 minutes time. Now, the highlight of the event will be, of course, the Poshingak bell ringing, which will be struck by Seoul Mayor Park Won-soon, other officials, and 11 local citizens. So don't miss the big event. We will also have music performances, a light show, and even a special selfie picture time. So don't miss it. Catch it live on Arirang, or if you have time, join me here outside. Now, this has been Kwon So-ah reporting live from Bosinggak Pavilion, Seoul.
Well, as you just saw in a flash, we picked out this past year's 10 most defining moments or issues that we spent a lot of time reporting on right here on Primetime News.
Exactly. We are going to talk about one by one tonight, and our trusted reporters of Arirang TV stayed very close to our stories out in the field in 2014, and we picked two of them. Jiwon to my left and Sungyi to my right are joining us to recap what 2014 was like for us in the media. Welcome. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So I'm sure there's a lot of issues that really stood out to you, but what would you say were the most important?
For me, I think the inter-Korean family reunions back in February was the most memorable event. I got to travel with the families to Mount Kumgang in North Korea, and it was really touching and heartbreaking at the same time to see the families get together. And it sort of made me realize the importance of reunification.
Sure. What about you?
Well, with me was obviously the visit by the Pope to South Korea in August. That was when Korea was still in deep sorrow over the tragic Seoul Ferry disaster, and it was so comforting to see his big heart towards the suffering in the nation.
Exactly. And like you just mentioned, the April ferry disaster was without a doubt one of the most defining moment, at least for Korea. This disaster, of course, took the lives of some 300 people back in April.
Right. So let's take a look at this next report to get a recap of the tragedy.
It's a tragedy that will never be forgotten in Korea. On April 16, 2014, the Seoul ferry carrying 476 people, many of them students on a school field trip, capsizes in waters off Korea's southwestern coast. Only 172 people survive. The morning quickly turns to anger, first for the captain and crew of the ferry for abandoning ship.
The vessel started listing when I quickly went to my bedroom after giving directions, not when I was steering the rudder.
It would later be determined that the students who perished stayed where they were on the ferry, following instructions given to them over loudspeakers. An early investigation concludes that this Seoul was overloaded and that much of the cargo was not secured properly, which contributed to the sinking. The Incheon District Prosecutor's Office turns its attention to the de facto owner of the Seoul ferry, Yu Byung-un, and his Cheonghaejin Marine Company. Police launch a manhunt to find Mr. Yu on charges of embezzlement and tax evasion. But he's found dead, badly decomposed in a plum field in the southwestern city of Suncheon in July. It's never determined what killed him, adding to the mystery and leaving questions about his role in the Seoul tragedy. Months later, ferry captain Lee Jun-suk is sentenced to 36 years in prison on charges of negligence.
It's hard to bear. Do you think 36 years in prison is enough for someone who escaped from the vessel, knowing that 304 people on board were going to drown and die?
The families of the victims demand an investigation into the causes of the accident. However, the National Assembly gets locked up in disagreements over the details of the bill, and the process drags on for months. After months of discussion, debates, and public protests, the Seoul ferry bill is passed in November, launching a special investigative committee that will look into the cause of the disaster. Another gives the government more authority to go after and confiscate illegally obtained wealth by individuals or companies. 8 months have now passed since the accident. Search operations have since been ended, with 9 passengers still missing and an official death toll of 295.
So this ferry disaster, I mean, without a doubt, it affected Korea and Koreans in so many different ways, emotionally, politically, right?
Yes, the sadness and anger still remains in the nation, of course, and domestic consumption was negatively affected, and most cultural events were canceled, of course, especially in the first half of this year. Well, the political bickering over the responsibility of the disaster followed the disaster for months. And one of the major changes in the wake of the tragic disaster was the dissolution of the Coast Guard, since it was harshly criticized for its poor response to the sinking. And a new ministry in charge of safety was set up in mid-November.
I remember reporting from the site of the accident, and it was so tragic I can't even put it into words. But unfortunately, that wasn't the only accident that occurred across the country this year. We had a roof collapse in Gyeongju back in February, where about 10 college students had died.
Yes, a series, and that was not the only one. The series of subway and train-related accidents occurred during the year. And of course, in October, there was the shocking ventilation grate collapse in Pango, where more than a dozen people just plunged to their death while innocently watching a K-pop concert. So I guess year 2014 turned out to be a year that Korea's safety records and standards received a lot of attention, opening up dialogue on how to improve the nation's safety regulations, procedure, and education.
And right when the country was at this emotional lull from all this tragedy, we did have this bright spot where the Pope visited Korea and made a very significant trip to Asia.
Right, that was a great moment because Holy Father visited Korea for 5 days as his first papal visit to Asia. Well, despite his extremely busy schedules, he met some bereaved family members of the ferry disaster, and one father even baptized by Pontiff himself, which is extremely rare case. And his humble gestures were hailed so much by the Korean media, they even coined a term, Francis syndrome, to refer to his popularity in the nation. Personally, I was deeply touched as I covered the Pope's first public mass in Daejeon, which he wrapped up with a special prayer for Koreans. He prayed that through the tragedy, Koreans could confirm their commitment to work together for the common good in solidarity. And I truly wish that his prayers could come true in the new year.
I'm sure that's many Koreans' New Year hope, wish, I guess. And but another area that certainly needs a breakthrough or some kind of a different headline for a change is certainly North Korea. And this is where you come in, Sung-hee, obviously. And as our very trusted unification ministry correspondent, what is the biggest North Korean news story for 2014?
Well, I think it would have to be the high-level visit to South Korea by 3 of Kim Jong-un's closest aides, including Choi Ryong-hae, who is, of course, widely regarded as the second in power in the regime. The visit also came at a time when North Korea had been sitting on South Korea's offer for talks for 2 months, and it was seen as a possible breakthrough because the trio agreed to a second round of high-level talks when they met with senior South Korean officials, but that momentum was very short-lived as North Korea scrapped the plans after becoming infuriated with anti-Pyongyang leaflet launches by South Korean activists.
Right, so we did see North Korea move on several issues to reduce some of its diplomatic isolation, which were viewed as a positive sign. But on the other hand, it really came under fire heavily this year for its human rights abuses.
Indeed, North Korea opened talks with Japan on the abductee issue. It released American detainees. It also sent high-level officials to Russia a number of times, I believe 3 or 4 times this year. But all these efforts hit hurdles with fresh international attention on its human rights situation. Now, the issue was listed on the UN Security Council's agenda last week following a landmark UN report earlier this year. Now, this report outlines widespread human rights abuses in the North and recommends that the Security Council refer the regime to the International Criminal Court. Such referral is highly unlikely, though, considering China's veto power, but it is a huge move since the Security Council can always bring up the issue whenever it wants to.
And Seoul in North Korea seems to have dug itself into a deeper hole with its cyber attack on Sony Pictures, although new reports are coming in that it might not have been North Korea to begin with.
I know, but still the U.S. government is sticking to the FBI's original findings. And President Obama has vowed proportional response, that he would review putting North Korea back onto the state sponsors of terrorism. So this, of course, was after Sony said it was canceling the release of the movie The Interview after a cyber attack on its corporate network and threats against potential moviegoers. And since then, we have seen disruptions in North Korea's internet connection, which Pyongyang is blaming Washington for. So it seems that this comedy film has started up a fresh cyber warfare between the two longtime foes, and there is this fresh tensions between them.
So looking forward to 2015, what kind of North Korea are we looking at? Are we looking at more isolation, more provocation, or making nice for a change?
Well, Cherry, when things don't go its way with the U.S., North Korea tends to turn to South Korea. It has a chance to do so this time as well, considering South Korea's latest proposal for talks that it made earlier this week. This also comes ahead of Kim Jong-un's New Year's Day speech, where many analysts expect Kim Jong-un to introduce a fresh South Korea policies aimed at improving inter-Korean ties. And both Koreas will also be looking to make some progress in their relations next year, which marks the 70th anniversary of its independence, 70th year of the division of the Korean Peninsula. But then again, North Korea has been denouncing President Park and her North Korea policy for the last 2 days. So we still need to wait and see. And you also have to remember that when it finds itself cornered, North Korea can always launch another provocation. And analysts say a long-range rocket launch is highly, highly likely next year.
Exactly. So that's certainly a variable that we are always watching, actually, and not only in 2015, but another variable in the Northeast Asian diplomacy is certainly Japan.
Well, yes, of course. I think the issue of the so-called comfort women, or the victims of the Japanese wartime sexual enslavement, was the thorniest issue between South Korea and Japan this year. And for that, let's first take a look at this report on the latest developments.
Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's attitude toward the issue of wartime sexual slavery has badly fractured ties between Seoul and Tokyo this year. Abe was pressured into issuing an apology after first denying there was evidence of sex slavery in Japan's imperial past.
The world is denouncing Japan for recruiting wartime sex slaves, which is not true.
In 1993, Japan apologized for forcing thousands of women into army brothels through the landmark Kono Statement. But conservatives in Japan want the Japanese government to reconsider that apology, a move that sparked anger in Korea and China. Throughout the year, the Japanese government and media have stepped up efforts to deny Japan's sexual enslavement of women. In June, Tokyo published a review of the Kono Statement, after which the Asahi Shimbun newspaper admitted that its stories on the victims carried errors. In October, Tokyo even asked the UN to modify its special 1996 report on the victims of sexual slavery. In response to Tokyo's maneuvers, Korea has repeatedly asked Japan to take responsibility for its wartime atrocities by issuing an apology and offering enough compensation to satisfy the victims.
지금 이제 생존해 있는 피해자분들이 한 54분, 그리고 또 평균 연령이 88세, 상당히 고령입니다. 그래서 이분들이 생존해 있을 때 명예를 회복해 드릴 수 있는 그런 납득할 만한 그 조치가 좀 있기를 기대를 하고 있습니다.
So this issue of the comfort women has really blocked summit between the two leaders. What do you think the prospects are this year?
Well, Sean, next year marks the 50th anniversary of the normalization of diplomatic ties between Seoul and Tokyo. And President Park has said that she is willing to talk with Abe if he shows some sincerity on the issue. But then again, we have to remember that Abe is onto a fresh term. He will probably introduce more nationalistic, more right-wing policies. He is expected to introduce his so-called Abe statement with these policies. So it really is up to Japan, I think.
Right. All right, so a lot of work cut out for a lot of us, and let's leave it there. But thank you so much for coming in, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And turning to 2014's economic news, Korea made big strides in 2014 in its campaign to expand free trade deals by wrapping up negotiations with 4 countries.
Exactly, and one of them, the most significant achievement, was the one agreed with China. Let's take a look at this next report.
With the latest edition of a Korea-Vietnam FTA agreed earlier this month, Korea has concluded negotiations with 4 countries this year, starting with Canada in March and followed by China and New Zealand in November. Korea now has 15 FTAs with a total of 52 nations that account for 73% of the world's GDP. And the one agreed with China this year, Korea's biggest trading partner, this is expected to help Korea increase its per capita income to $30,000 within the next 3 years from the current $20,000. Korea's exports to China currently account for a quarter of its total outbound shipments, and a government think tank expects the FTA to expand Korea's GDP by up to 3% over the next decade. The 2 countries have yet to formally sign the deal. The Seoul officials hope to tie up all remaining processes soon, so the FTA can go into effect within a year. With China vying to remove tariffs on nearly 2/3 of Korea's manufactured goods within 10 years of implemented free trade deal, Korean industries are busy drawing up new marketing plans for the world's biggest consumer market. Korean makers of machineries, steel, electronics, and cosmetics products are expected to benefit most from the tariff reduction, while textile, rubber, and plastic will have to cope with the influx of cheap Chinese products. Major agricultural products sensitive for Korean farmers were excluded from the deal. Seoul's goal now is to ink a trilateral deal with China and Japan, now entering a 3rd year of negotiations, looking for terms similar to those in the Korea-China FTA.
So now let's talk more about Korea's free trade agreement initiatives, as well as some other economic issues that top headlines in 2014. Professor Shin Sang-hyup is joining us tonight. Thanks so much for joining us on New Year's.
Well, thank you.
Happy New Year. So what kind of meaning or how much weight do you give to this free trade agreement deal with China?
Well, it's very, very important. Actually, I think we have to think about the current economic relationship between 2 countries. The current trade volume between 2 countries is about $200 billion, and the Korea's accumulated investment volume into China is about $60 billion, and about the 20,000 Korean companies are operating in China, and then about half Koreans are working or living in China. So the current economic ties between 2 countries are very, very strong. And then owing to the Korea-China FTA, well, it is in a world that the current economic relations between 2 countries can be strengthened further in the future. So we can say that the Korea got some stepping stone in the Chinese market, which is really, really huge one. So we can get some momentum for the future economic development. So it's very, very important.
So it certainly seems like it's a huge boon for exports and the future of the Korean economy. But despite some of these advances in trade deals and growth rates that other countries still envy, Korea's economy sure doesn't feel too hot for the average real person.
Exactly. In fact, the figures point to lower consumer and business sentiment, and government measures to counter the slump have yet to gain traction. Take a look at this next report.
Life is hard. Something must be done about the economy.
There's a limit to the money ordinary people can really use.
I've been working at the market for around 14 years. This year felt like the most difficult year.
There were expectations of an economic recovery at the beginning of the year. But now, the country is grappling with slow growth. April's Sewol ferry disaster dragged down consumer and business confidence, resulting in lower consumption and lower investments. The Consumer Sentiment Index plunged to 105 in May. There were short signs of recovery, but the index dropped for 3 straight months again.
I don't think anybody really expected the effect from Sewol to last this long. But I think we were very unlucky in that it was coupled by some international developments. For example, slowdown in China, slowdown in EU.
The government has responded to those internal and external factors.
Whether it's fiscal or monetary, we need an expansionary policy for the time being.
Dubbed Twenomics, the government's plans included a $40 billion stimulus package and deregulation measures for housing loans. For support, the Bank of Korea cut the key interest rate once in August and again in October. But historically high levels of household debt have been a hindrance to monetary policies, raising concerns of a long-drawn slump.
Okay, if you asked me about 3 months ago, I would say no. But because the situation has gone on for so long, I would say that it is within the realm of possibility right now.
But many analysts say Korea isn't likely to follow the footsteps of Japan that has suffered from decades of lost growth.
There have been positive signs of late, such as low oil prices and the depreciating won.
And some say if private spending increases in the first quarter of next year, the economy might even do better than the government's most recent 2015 growth projection of 3.8%.
Now, key words from this report, low growth, low spending, high household debt, so not a lot of good news out there. And now the Korean government is promising efforts to carry out structural reforms. What's your advice on this front?
Well, to revive the stagnant domestic economy, actually, first of all, government should have to attract more investment, not only from domestic investors, but also the foreign investors. And at the same time, the Korean government should have to make the atmosphere which make the consumers spend more money. I mean, actually, to make this kind of things, the government should have to show, build their credibility in the market. For the last several years, Korean government has lost its credibility in the market. So to restore the credibility of the Korean government or Korean government policy in the market seems to be the most important thing. And then the other one is actually the Korean government should have to make every effort to diversify its export items or products, product items, and as well as the diversifies markets. So let me give you an example. You know, Chinese market is changing. Actually, one of the major exporting item, Korean exporting item to China was the intermediate products. But right now, Chinese market is changing. They owing to acquiring new technologies, they are right now producing intermediate items, products by themselves. So we have to make another way to keep our market share in Chinese market. That is, we have to find a way to increase our export of finished products. And on the long-term basis, another one is that the Korean government should have to build a very strong financial foundation. Right now, to revive the depressed domestic market, the Korean government decided to provide more money. I mean, that is through the fiscal policy. Because of this one, the Korean budget will be in the red on the short-term basis. It's okay, but on the long-term basis, the Korean government should have prepared to build a very strong financial foundation. Without it, Korean economy cannot keep the momentum in the future.
So all of these measures seem like real heady structural reforms, long-term goals. Really quickly, for 2015, do you think we could get all of these done to have a good outlook for next year, or is next year just going to be a year where we have to ride it out until more growth is down the road?
Sean, it's really a difficult question to answer. Well, but we have to consider external situations as well as internal situations. Well, as you know very well, the global economy has been in bad shape for the last several years. Right now, they show very slow recovery, but not very much. Well, particularly the European economy is struggling to overcome the financial crisis. Unemployment rate in Europe is more than 10%. Particularly, youth unemployment rate is more than 20%. So, in other words, the European economy is expected to be in a bad shape. And only another one is actually the Chinese market does not, look very, attractive market for Korean anymore, because as I explained already, Chinese market is changing. So it's going to be more difficult for the Korean producers to enter into the Chinese market.
Right, a lot of challenges.
Yes,
still
these are the very
remain.
negative factors for the Korean economy. And then if I add one more thing, that is the internal factor. That is that, as I said before, the Korean government has lost its credibility in the market. So without the restoring its credibility in the market, it's going to be very difficult. But one opportunity for the Korean economy is that USA economies show right now a little bit faster recovery than our expectations.
Right, so there's a lot of mixed signs out there. So we really can't tell what's going to happen next year, but it'll be a challenge for sure. Thank you so much, Professor, for joining us tonight.
Yeah, same to you.
And lots of global headlines in 2014 that we spent a lot of time talking about right here on Arirang News. And of course, joining us for this recap is none other than Paul E. Welcome. Happy New Year.
Oh, thank you very much. Happy New Year, guys.
So, Paul, you've been giving us the latest international news month after month, really bringing us all of the latest global headlines.
And what are some of the stories that really stood out to you?
Well, in terms of international headlines, I can't leave out the crisis in Ukraine, which took us into 2014. And then in the summer, we saw the dramatic rise of the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. And in the second half, we saw the incredible explosive outbreak of Ebola in West Africa. And finally, rounding out the year, we saw the final chapter of the pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. Just truly unprecedented events.
Exactly.
Well, let's start with the Ukraine crisis. Quite some alarming moments when you really consider national sovereignty.
Exactly. I mean, the shocking annexation of Crimea by Russia, and we're seeing worse states in terms of the relations between Russia and the West.
That's right, and also led to this ongoing conflict between the Ukrainian government forces and the pro-Russian rebels in the east. And for more details, let's take a look at this report on these key events.
The year started off with violent and sometimes deadly clashes after clashes between anti-government protesters and authorities, with Kiev's Independence Square the focal point of much of the initial violence. It was then President Viktor Yanukovych's decision to seek closer ties with Russia and abandon a trade agreement with the European Union that caused the unrest and sparked what is now deemed the Ukraine Revolution of 2014 in February. Amid the clashes, Yanukovych is ousted as president and flees the country. Presidential powers are then given to this man, Alexander Turchinov. The protests did not stop, however. Pro-Russia supporters continue their rallies against the new Ukrainian government, and Russia's military started encroaching into Ukraine, occupying strategic sites across the Crimean Peninsula. In March, a referendum on the future of the peninsula showed that at least 95% of voters in Crimea supported a union with Russia. Although the EU and the US condemned the referendum as illegal, it led to Russia's Vladimir Putin formally annexing Crimea. Come May, Petro Poroshenko wins the Ukrainian presidential election. July, Malaysian Airlines Flight 17 is shot down, presumably by pro-Russian forces, over eastern Ukraine. Most of the passengers were Dutch and all the crew members were Malaysian. Fighting continues amid failed ceasefire attempts between the warring sides. Most recently, tensions between Russia and Ukraine flared up again as Kiev voted to abandon its neutral status and took a step toward joining NATO. Although membership is seen unlikely, experts say the latest step will only escalate tensions and worsen Ukraine's deep political crisis.
All right, Paul, let's talk about the Islamic State now.
Sure thing. It's an extremist group that has been around for years, but 2014 is when they gained tremendous power in the Middle East. Exactly. And in this next rundown, we'll see that not only did they shock the world, but they also caught many world leaders off guard.
The Islamic State of Iraq was founded in 2006 when a group of Iraqi insurgents merged with the Mujahideen Shura Council. The group, now calls itself Islamic State, are Sunni extremists who regard those who disagree with their interpretations as infidels. They quickly gained ground in Syria and Iraq, easily defeating poorly trained and poorly equipped Iraqi government forces. In an attempt to slow the expansion of the Islamic Front, U.S.-funded Syrian rebels launched an offensive against IS militants in and around the Syrian city of Aleppo in January of 2014. The international spotlight on IS reached its height after the beheading of American journalist James Foley and intensified with the videotaped beheadings of several more Westerners. According to reports by the UN and Amnesty International, Islamic State is also systematically raping, torturing, and enslaving hundreds of women and girls. The women and girls are given as gifts to fighters and often forced to marry the men. As well as Westerners, Islamic State have also killed tens of thousands of Shiite Muslims, as they believe they don't follow the true meaning of Islam. In October, Islamic State dispatched 10,000 militants from Syria to the Iraqi city of Mosul to try and seize Baghdad, and managed to advance to within 25 kilometers of Baghdad airport. After a series of expansionary moves, the militants currently control large parts of Iraq, Syria, the Sinai Peninsula, and eastern Libya.
And Paul, you and I, we spent a lot of time talking about this global war against the Ebola virus, and we are still fighting it.
That's right. To give you some background information, this disease is based on a hemorrhagic virus, which is highly contagious and is fatal in more than half of its reported cases. And also, we should note that the healthcare workers in West Africa right now, foreign and local, have been the hardest hit proportionally. And though this outbreak has slowed somewhat from the earlier stages, as we see in this next recap, that the threat still lingers.
Ebola is a terrible disease.
We have to extinguish it.
I am declaring a public health emergency of international concern.
An outbreak of Ebola has never been this deadly. The worldwide death toll currently stands at more than 7,500, and it keeps on rising. The number of confirmed cases, 20,000. It all began with the first reported Ebola case in Guinea in December 2013. It then spread quickly into neighboring countries like Libya and Sierra Leone. Ebola begins with simple cold-like symptoms. Soon after, the patient starts to experience chronic abdominal pain, bleeding eyes, vomiting, and diarrhea, and eventually organ failure if treatment doesn't work. The virus is transmitted via direct contact with bodily fluids like blood, sweat, and saliva, and the fatality rate for this particular epidemic reached 70% at one point. Affected countries began screening travelers, and some even banned flights going in and out of West Africa. On the global level, the WHO declared the outbreak as a global health emergency, and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention set its Emergency Operations Center to its highest level. International communities were quick to respond, sending necessary aid and troops. A team of 10 Korean medical volunteers have also flown half across the world to Sierra Leone to take part in containing the disease. And more are ready to be dispatched next year. Efforts to defeat the disease continue. An experimental drug called ZMapp was given to American Ebola patients, and developments on faster diagnostic tests for faster detection of the virus is ongoing. If successful, the disease may be detected within just 15 minutes. Hope is rising that the end could be in sight, though, as the infection rate has slowed in recent weeks.
Yes, we are seeing some early signals of, hope. Cases are stabilizing, but we need to continue to do more to get to zero.
Officials say the international community should avoid issuing more travel bans and other steps that would isolate countries, at least until the virus is completely under control.
Paul, let's now turn to Hong Kong, where we saw back in September protesters really taking to the streets to ensure free and democratic elections.
I mean, it was really astounding to see just so many people, young, old, it doesn't really matter, taking to the streets under the name of democracy, universal suffrage. But then it did turn violent at times.
That's right. The founders did have a peaceful, initiative first of all, but it did turn to violent clashes at the end. And though after more than 2 months, it did come to the protest did have cleaned up. It was said to have posed a real serious threat to the leadership in Beijing, a sight not seen since the Tiananmen Square protests in 1989. And so finally, let's take this final rundown of the so-called umbrella revolution.
On September 26th, hundreds of students poured out into the streets of Hong Kong demanding free elections. Britain handed Hong Kong back to China in 1997 in a political deal called One Country, Two Systems. This would guarantee Hong Kong more freedom than is afforded on mainland China, such as being allowed to elect their own leader in 2017. However, China backpedaled. Beijing said Hong Kong could hold the elections, but only if the Chinese government first handpicked all the candidates.
The Hong Kong society, in general, they will adopt an approach of civil disobedience, resisting the government till the government consider to restructure the constitutional reform in the coming days.
Police used pepper spray and tear gas on unarmed protesters. This is where the umbrellas came in, which demonstrators used to protect themselves, thereby the name Umbrella Revolution. Maggie Yang lived in Hong Kong for more than 40 years, and she says she hasn't seen anything like this before here in the city.
This is the biggest protest I have ever seen in Hong Kong for decades, because when we grew up in the 80s, we have nothing like this before. Although it caused some traffic jams and blockage, overall this protest is really peaceful.
The occupation of Hong Kong streets, however, came to an end after 2.5 months of protests, without the Chinese government acceding to any of the protesters' demands. It was the most serious challenge to the Chinese government since the 1989 pro-democracy protests in Beijing. And analysts say it showed that those in Hong Kong's post-colonial generation can actively take part in the political process and are willing to raise their voices against what they feel is unfair, even if they know it's going to be a long battle.
And that finally wraps up our look at the biggest international stories for now, for this year at least.
The big finale.
Right. Certainly, you've covered a lot of pressing topics and topics that were quite scary. And I understand that you are going to be bringing new life into the world next year.
Yay! Breaking news. Global breaking news.
My wife is 9 months pregnant. That's right. And we're expecting any day now, which is kind of very exciting, but also very terrifying as well. But my New Year's resolution for this year is to definitely be the best father and husband as I can.
Oh, wow. I'm sure you'll do great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just the one that we can always trust with international news coverage, and of course, in 2015 as well. Right. Okay. So what about you, your resolution?
Well, that resolution is going to be part of the second half of the show. So I
don't
can't
get to hear about
it? Nope, you can't. You'll have to tune in. You'll have to run home and then tune into the second half of our program.
Okay, well, ask me
smartphone.
For my New Year resolution.
I thought you didn't make or have one.
No, I just came up with one.
Oh, great.
Have a good balance, work out more. You know me, too lazy. Well, well, yeah, thank you again, Paul, and congratulations on the baby.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year.
And it's definitely been a pleasure and honor giving you guys updates every single day for this year, and I hope to give you many more for 2015.
Right, and hopefully the news will be much more uplifting and less chaos-based
hopefully.
than we had this year.
All right,
thank you so
Happy
much,
New
Paul.
Year, Paul. And that brings us to the close of the first half of our New Year's special. There's much more fun coming up ahead, actually, right?
Yeah.
So I believe it involves just a quick teaser here, a quick wardrobe change for Sean Lim.
That's right. We'll be in the same studio, but we're going to be transitioning into more of a party atmosphere, so you don't want to miss it, especially with our first musical guest, a very well-known artist. They've made headlines this year.
Exactly. I saw their preparation process, and it will be a party. So, but then I'm not going to be a part of this party, unfortunately. So that will be it for me this year. I am Kang Chiri. Happy New Year, everyone.
Right, and I'll be back in a few minutes, so go get a snack, but don't go anywhere too far. Bye-bye.
Imagine you're here, tasting delicious Korean cuisine, skiing under the moonlight, exploring one of the new 7 wonders of nature, and experiencing K-pop like never before.
Imagine you're Korea!
The world's only divided country, Korea. Despite the challenging circumstances caused by the division, Korea has achieved tremendous economic growth and robust democracy, and Korea is now moving closer towards unification day by day. What changes will be led by a unified Korea in the future? World experts speak of infinite possibilities of a unified Korea. James Gruber has asserted that unification will be the Korean economy's vast potential for the future. Global investment banks also share a positive forecast for the future economy of a unified Korea.
Within about 5 years following unification, Korea's sovereign credit rating will rise by more than 2 notches.
Gaesung Industrial Complex, the collaboration between South and North Korea, is the testing ground of combined economies of the 2 Koreas.
With the big capital pool and management in the south and the labor force and natural resources in the north, Korea has tremendous growth in the future. I will invest all of my assets in a unified Korea.
In addition, South Korea is pushing forward the Silk Road Express and Eurasia Initiative that will link Busan and London, creating an energy network involving electricity, gas, and oil pipe infrastructure. Korean unification will be the opportunity to boost the global economy.
한국에만 대박이 아니라 동북아 주변국 모두에게도 대박이 될 수 있다고 생각을 합니다.
A unified Korea creates new values.
I'm going stir crazy. This isn't what I want. Okay, let's leave. So here I am, Jeju Island in Korea. The beautiful scenery of Korean, far from the busy city life. This feels great.
와, 시원하다.
시원하다? All the frustration is gone. In addition to cool, 시원하다 has other meanings. 안녕하세요. 되게 시원해요. But you will soon feel refreshed as your stiff muscles become relieved. 시원하다. 시원하다 is a kind of exclamation. You can use this word in this situation.
어우, 시원하다.
Eating hot soups helps your stomach feel comfortable. That's when Koreans say this. 시원하다. Say the greatest satisfaction in the world. 시원하다.
A digital revolution, the evolution of TV. Smart TV. What happens when Smart TV meets Arirang? Download Arirang app from Smart World App Store and click away on the programs of your choice. New hot clips updated every day from A to Z of your favorite stars.
Hello!
To the hottest K-pop tunes. Major economic and cultural issues of Korea. The latest Korean news at prime time on Arirang News. Meet a smart world on Smart TV with Arirang.
Hi, my name is Gina. I'm 24. I'm from France. I'm from Yoja Crew. I love music. I'm a dancer. My passion is the product of my youth, all united by K-pop. I'm up for a new challenge, new dream. K-pop. K-pop has made upgrading my old self.
Asia's heartbeat. Arirang.
In search of timeless and priceless heritage in Korea. Time Priceless. World Heritage in Korea. Changdeokgung Palace. The 5 royal palaces of Hanyang, the capital of Joseon. The one that served as a royal residence for the longest time. The most Korean of the 5 palaces, and the only one registered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The most beautiful palace loved by Joseon, Changdeokgung. 1395. The first palace in the 500-year history of Joseon was built, Gyeongbokgung. 10 years later, the second palace, Changdeokgung, was established. But Changdeokgung functioned as the chief palace for some 520 years. What were the reasons? Changdeokgung was initially built for the recreation of kings. Unlike Gyeongbokgung that was built in symmetry on flat land, Changdeokgung is snuggled in nature, and to this day it has best retained its original shape among the 5 palaces. Reflecting the characteristics of traditional garden-style design, about 60% of the palace was used as a garden, not artificially made, but naturally created by a nearby mountain. The kings became one with nature against this beautiful backdrop and put their weary minds at ease. But the garden was not simply a site for recreation. To experience the lives of the common people, kings tried farming for themselves and tirelessly worked for the people even while resting. Joseon's wise kings hoped to be the bright moon for the nation. Changdeokgung Palace is beautiful under the moonlight that shines with royal dignity. The moonlight that has been shining on Changdeokgung for centuries seems to carry the unchanging energy of our ancestors. Glowing as brightly as the moon, Changdeokgung Palace.
Asia's heartbeat, Arirang.
The culture and history of Shilla that connected the East and the West through the sea route. Gyeongsangbuk-do begins a new 1,000-year expedition on that route. From Gyeongju to Isfahan. Through this challenge, we will make a maritime Silk Road where history and the future coexist. The sea route that embraces the world. 2014 Korea Maritime Silk Road Expedition.
Close your eyes and imagine the hum of time created by perpetual waves. The soft swishing of the wind through nutmeg trees. The majestic roar of the waterfall. The sound of quiet magnificence that goes back 2.5 million years. Sounds of Jeju will heal your soul.
Meet the brilliant summer of Gangwon-do. Gangwon-do is Korea's well-being home.
사계절 매력이 넘치는 강원으로 여러분을 초대합니다.
Dynamic Busan.
Arirang New Year's Eve, live from Arirang News Center. Helping to kick things off, here's Winter Play.
All right, it is the start of a brand new year. That's right, folks. And you know what? Winter Play. Haewon, Juhan, and all the members here, we want to wish you a great new year. On top of that, this next song here is about love. It's about love to all you guys, to all your pets, all the great whales out there, the animals out there. That's right. And it's time to shake things up. So here it is. It's time for us to shake it up and down. Hope you guys are ready. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
바라보는 내 두 눈을 보면 You just go crazy, I just go crazy. 살랑살랑 날 반기는 몸짓 My only true love and real love. Shake it up and down, oh shake it up and down, oh shake it up and down, oh shake it up and down, oh. 두근두근 널 향한 내 사랑 I wake up laughing Your belly facing up 언제라도 날 반기는 너만 When I've had bad days or good days Shake it up and down, oh shake it up and down, oh shake it up and down, oh shake it 세상 모두 준대도 바꿀 수 없는 너 Special magic that is just in you You're the only lucky star The only star I need You make me feel right inside Shake it up and down, oh shake it up and down, oh shake it up and down, oh, oh, oh shake it, oh shake it, shake it, shake, shake it, shake it, shake, shake it, shake, shake it, shake it, shake. 새근새근 잠든 널 부르면 You're around eyes happy I feel so lucky 사랑스런 널 품에 안으면 My only real love and beautiful Shake it, shake, shake it, shake it, shake, shake it, shake, shake it, shake it, shake, shake.
Shake it up and down. And you know what, folks? It is Arirang New Year's Eve Live. And now I want to introduce to you the three incredible main hosts, Sean Lim, Lee Ji-yoon, and Hwang Ji-hye. All right.
Shake it up and down, oh 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 shake it up and down, oh.
Thanks, guys. That was the amazing K-pop jazz group Winter Play starting our festivities with Shake It Up and Down. We'll welcome everyone to our special New Year's Eve broadcast where we'll be ringing in the new year with you.
And in the next hour, we'll be giving you the highlights of the year we just had, all the way up to the countdown to 2015.
And we'll also be on the hunt for the best New Year's resolutions. And what better way to start than by asking our very special music guest?
So you've had an excellent 2014. What would you say were the highlights?
Wow. Yes, we did have a great time and some highlights here. Of the many, I like to think, just a couple here. We were able to be on the top #1 spot for the international pop chart in the Hong Kong radio charts. And we beat out Beyonce, Jay-Z, Bruno Mars, the girls' generation. How about that for K-Jazz, huh? Winter Play. And just a couple weeks ago, we were in Thailand, invited by the King of Thailand for his birthday party. And it was a great jazz party with some Grammy-winning award winners like Larry Carlton, Diane Shore, John Pizzarelli, and Count Basie, and from Asia only, Winter Play. It was a great pleasure to represent Korea.
Wow, that deserves a round of applause, don't you think? Well, any New Year's resolutions for you guys? You know, any new plans in your careers or even love?
Well, certainly. Here, me, Haewon, and our beautiful members here, we want to wish everybody a great, how do you say, a festive year. One that's healthy, and you know, one that's without any pain, and we want to give you a lot of love and peace through our music. That's the only wish I got.
We hope all that turns true in this coming year. And are you all ready for the show, guys?
I'm ready.
Ready. Let's go.
그래요 나빴죠 딴 사람 만난 건 하지만 오늘은 혼자이긴 싫죠 당신은 바쁘죠 항상 일이 많죠 하지만 오늘은 내 생일인 걸 왜 몰라 Take me out.
All right, it's now about 11:06 p.m. on the last day of 2014 here in Korea, and you're tuned into Arirang's New Year's Eve special, where in less than an hour, we will be counting down to the new year.
Right, and I can't believe we have just an hour left to say goodbye to 2014. How did your resolutions for this year go?
Well, you know, I was away most of the year on my maternity leave. I gave birth to my beautiful daughter. And actually, my New Year's resolution was to be an energetic mom, to survive all the sleepless nights. And I think that went pretty well.
Yeah, you certainly had a lot of zip and go when you came back to work. My New Year's resolution, I think, was to be more patient. I tried. I really tried. How about you?
Well, I tried to read 20 books this year, but well, I did spend a lot of money doing that, trying to buy books in the beginning of this year, but I hope the money's worth it.
You didn't really read them.
Yeah, sort of.
All right, so for this year, your resolution will be the same then. You already have yours.
I know, exactly.
Wow, well, you know, read away those books, Jihae. And actually, we have a brand new year about to kick off, and, you know, let's leave behind what we might have failed to do this year and try to be more hopeful of what we can do this year, right, guys? All right, and for the next 1 hour and a half, we'll be bringing you celebrations happening all throughout the country and go back down the memory lane to see what made headlines here on Arirang News.
Right, and to take a glimpse on how the Solites are ushering in their new year and what their New Year's resolutions will be, we'll go to Jesse Day, who's about to leave the Arirang Tower to his final destination of the Seoul Tower, and he is right over there.
Wow.
Jesse.
It looks kind of cold.
Hello guys, I am here outside Arirang right now, as you can see. And I'm going to be going around Seoul asking people what their New Year's resolution is because, well, I haven't quite thought of mine yet. I don't know about you guys, but maybe we can get some good suggestions to help us make a decision.
Since it's going to be the year of the sheep, maybe you can also find people who fall into that category and ask them what their New Year's resolutions are.
Sounds like a good idea.
That does sound like a great idea. So that would be people born in 1979 or 1991, I believe. So I'll try to find some people born in the year of the sheep and see what resolutions they might have.
Well, Jesse, if you can, try sending us a nice picture of the view from the Seoul Tower, all right? And of course, do stay warm, please. And we go over now to our Kwon So-ah, who's standing by live at a very special venue in downtown Seoul, the Poshingak Pavilion. So-ah.
Hi guys, Happy New Year. I see you all warm and cozy inside the studio, but I don't envy you because here the excitement at Jongno District is filled. Many people have already come out here. It is cold, it is around -5 degrees, but that doesn't matter here as we are getting closer to the special Poshingak bell ringing. Now, around 100,000 people are expected to count down to 2015. If you've got Times Squares in New York, here in Seoul, you've got the Posinggak Pavilion. Now, unlike other countries, no fireworks will be heard exploding, just the deep ringing of the Posinggak bell. And not once, not twice, but 33 times. And Seoul Mayor Park Won-soon, other officials, and 11 local citizens that have been picked will do the honors of ringing the bell. One of them is a 75-year-old resident who helped from spreading a fire inside a subway, and also a 27-year-old woman who has been actively doing volunteer work.
Well, so it looks like you grabbed surely a nice, safe spot over there. But apart from this traditional bell ringing ceremony, what else is in store for tonight? And what have people been doing?
Well, the night is filled with an exciting program with music performances, a light show, and a selfie picture taking time, and also an event where artificial clouds will be sent up into the sky, and they will be shaped with key symbols of 2015. For example, in the shape of a sheep, because next year will be the year of the sheep according to the lunar calendar, and also the number 70, because next year will be the 70th Korean Independence Day. So we've got a jam-packed program there. And now for those who still plan to rush out here, it's a good idea to leave your cars behind, as traffic will be restricted in the area. But public transportation will be extended, with subways running until 2 a.m., but they won't stop at Tunggak Station, the closest station to Posinggak. So please keep that in mind. Now, I'll be back here with more in around an hour at the highlight of the event. This has been Kwon So-ah reporting live at Posinggak Pavilion, Seoul.
Right, so it's not too late to head out over there if you want to be there for the bell ringing ceremony. But let's find out where else people are celebrating this evening. Let's go over live to Korea's biggest port city, Busan, where Connie Kim is standing by. Connie, happy New Year's Eve. Will tell us about how Busan is going to be ringing in the new year.
She looks cold over there.
Hi, Connie.
Hey Sean, and Happy New Year's Eve. I'm standing at the Yongdaesan Park, one of the most popular venues where Busan citizens are waiting for the year-end ceremony. Now, Busan is a lot warmer than Seoul right now, so I'm definitely seeing a lot more people than I expected. And the venue here right now is beautiful because a special lighting festival is going on. The venue is absolutely decorated with fancy lights and colorful lanterns. And also, for the people who came down here at the venue, they had a special chance to write their wishes on this golden balloon, which they plan to fly away when the bell rings at midnight. Now, for me, Sean, I wrote travel to Peru to see my all-time favorite Machu Picchu. Well, let's hear what others had to say about their New Year's wish.
I'm planning on starting a new business next year. I hope everything goes smoothly and becomes successful.
I wish my family, friends, and my girlfriend stay healthy next year, and I wish them all the best next year.
Well, for those of you who are in Busan for a special getaway and want to join us right now for the bell ringing ceremony, please do hurry, because the night is long with a lot of events and the festival waiting for the newcomers. Now, Sean, do not forget this is also one of the most popular venues to see the sunrise at 2015.
All right, well, it looks like there's some competition for the best sunrise location, because where will the new year first hit on Korea? Well, aside from the Dokdo Islets and Ulleungdo Island, here on the mainland, it's Korea's famous East Coast.
Right.
Well, let's go over to Yangyang, where our reporter, Sang-cho Chun, is standing by.
She also looks kind of cold over there, I guess.
What a night, guys.
guys, I'm reporting live all the way from the east, right on the Naksan Beach in Yangyang, Gangwon-do Province. The city of Yangyang, also dubbed as the city of sunrise, gets flooded with tens of thousands of people around this time of the year who all want to enjoy the spectacular view of the sun, the first sunrise of the year, and also to really start a brand new year with fresh minds and determination. And of course, as you can see, there are many people already gathered here to commemorate the end of 2014 and the beginning of 2015. The Yangyang Sunrise Festival has been ongoing since earlier today with various events and activities going on. And who cares about the frigid temperatures and strong gusty winds here, right? We've got all these people cheering and really enjoying what it seems like a concert, a performance right now. And different artists, and dancers, and singers have been taking the stage for hours here to really intensify the festive mood in the air. Everyone on the beach is celebrating and enjoying this very special moment to mark the grand finale of 2015. And over there, you see the Naksan Beach and the East Coast. It's too dark right now, so you can't really see anything, but there are people doing fireworks on the beach. And since earlier on this afternoon, people have been flying all different kinds of kites and lanterns, writing New Year's resolutions and wishes on them. So I've got mine as well prepared. So people are making unforgettable memories with their families and loved ones. I have my lantern already prepared, so over there. Okay, so I already wrote Happy New Year, Arirang TV, all the viewers and people in the studio. So we're gonna light this lantern right now. Okay, with a lighter. It'll be gorgeous when we see this glowing lantern flying in the twilight skies right now. Actually, if you look out there, I don't know if the camera can catch, but then there are glowing dots over there in the skies. They're actually the flying lanterns. Okay, so let's see how my lantern will fly. I'm not sure because the winds are pretty strong right now, so I don't know if it'll hover in the skies all right. Okay, so we're having a little bit of trouble right now lighting up the lantern because of the winds right now. Okay, 이제 날려볼까요? 지금 날려도 돼요? 네. 알겠습니다. 그럼 날릴게요. Okay, so I'm gonna fly this lantern. 1, 2, 3. 이거 지금 이렇게 하면 되는 거예요? Okay, be careful. I don't want it to tip over. Go! Fly, lantern! Ah! Fly! Yay! Ah! Okay, we're having a little bit of trouble right now because of the winds. But never mind. I wish you all Happy New Year. I wish for your good luck and health and happiness. Okay, so at midnight, the tolling of a bell at Naksansa Temple, which is about 5 kilometers from where we are, will mark the New Year's Day, followed by all different kinds of fireworks on the beach. But of course, the highlight of all will be tomorrow, watching the sunrise. The sun is expected to go up at about 7:41 a.m. and the weather seems to be cooperating as well. Clear conditions are in the forecast, so we'll have no problem enjoying the glorious moment when the sun ascends over the horizon. So you can join me tomorrow on Korea Today at 7 a.m. and back to you guys in the studio.
Oh, so unfortunate about that
lantern,
but it almost went up.
Right, it was crawling on the ground, not floating in the sky, right?
Just died on the sand.
I know. Thanks, Songcho, for that. Hope you stay warm there. And now we turn to our very own reporters who followed in stories on a regular basis, traveling all across the country and abroad. We are joined by Connie Lee and Shin Se-min. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, guys. Good
evening.
So you two have been covering a variety of stories from light
cultural news to the heartbreaking Seoul ferry accident. What do you want to start off with?
Well, so both Semin and I spent the last few days rummaging through the stories that made headlines, and we both found ourselves smiling and frowning at times, looking at the past news of this year. Well, at the start of this year, Korea was rocked by the AI, or bird flu outbreak. Now, the first confirmed case of the highly pathogenic H5N8 bird flu strain was found in January in southern Korea. You can see here. So as soon as that news broke out, I was sent to Jeollabuk-do province, which is about 4 hours south of Seoul. Now, as you can imagine, it was very cold. You can see my nose all red there. And it was actually snowing heavily when we were shooting. And so we connected live in the early hours near a contaminated farm. And at that point, actually, tens and thousands of ducks were already killed. So the smell or stench of that was very strong.
Oh, wow. So you had a tough job to do over there, right?
Right. And actually, like, we try to get a lot of interviews with quarantine officials and residents and business owners there. But because of the sensitive issue, they weren't so open about talking to us. But, you know, it comes with the job of being reporters. You always have to fight for the right shots and the best footage and also the best interviews.
Right. And speaking of which, sometimes you can't always get compliant interviewees or the best shots. So well, let's turn to Semin. You sort of figured out that problem with your key story of the year, which was about the selfie stick. If you can't get somebody else to shoot it for you, shoot it yourself.
Exactly. On a lighter note compared to Connie's AI outbreak, we run into difficulties getting the right shots and interviews, and this time maybe they were a little too shy because I had trouble getting their interviews on camera. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've taken some because I've taken a lot of selfies myself. You need that perfect pose, the lightings, the facial expressions, and finding those people taking selfies to have them on camera was difficult. So
the people obsessed with taking photos of themselves did not want to be on Arirang's cameras?
Not exactly Arirang's cameras, but because having selfie, it's, you know, it's very confidential. It's your moment of taking that perfect selfie. That's why they were very reluctant to be sharing that moment with the viewers, I guess. And by now we're all familiar with this little stick, the selfie stick.
It.
Yes, I did.
Oh, wow. Great. Hey, what if we take one right now?
Sure.
Are we going to get on air right now?
Right before we headed to 2000.
Now, this is the one without the Bluetooth technology,
no,
right?
this isn't. They came out with the Bluetooth technology, the remote control.
Yeah,
right, which also created controversy.
Why?
It's actually banned, I believe, by the government because it's an actual communications device, which, which you need to have the government.
We now see our faces over there. Yay,
we're actually doing this now.
Last picture of 2014.
Yay. So we just did that. And then that's why I had to spend a little bit of extra time trying to get them on camera to speak to us and share their moment of, you know, delightful selfie taking moments. But at the same time, it was one of the most memorable coverages for me because I had a little bit of fun taking my stand-up because I had to use this selfie stick while taking my stand-up. I was able to show it to
Right, you interchanged the video and for those editing nerds out there. That was a really creative way to do it.
Yeah, I played around with it when it came to editings and all, but yeah, all in all, I remember it the most because it also did come out with the song itself, the selfie song. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Selfie song?
Yeah,
I've never heard of that.
It's not called selfie song.
What is that?
Korean song? No, it's not. I think it's by Chainsmokers, I think, right?
Okay.
You can YouTube it. You can YouTube it, and I believe you used it in part of your package, right? So that was a key song.
Well, Semin, you know, speaking of having fun, you're also filing reports on new trends, especially on food, right? Like the dessert craze that, you know, got people lined up for a piece of what, roll cake?
Yes, exactly. Starting with the dessert craze early this year, that got people lined up for roll cakes, ice creams, you name it. They were so obsessed with the desserts this year.
And you brought one in the office, right? After doing the report.
Missed that. You weren't in the office then. And on to the booming craft beer market. With the easing regulations, the consumption of the imported beer rose more than 25% earlier in the first half of the year compared to the same year last year. And the lowering taxations on microbrewers gave them a little more room to play around with their flavorings. So I was surprised because I was able to taste some of their beers that were with chocolate flavored and banana flavored and watermelon, you name it, they had it all.
Banana flavored.
And
Wow.
speaking of which, I did a story on banana flavored milk, not banana flavored beer, but banana flavored milk. It's one of the most popular drinks here in Korea. And it's actually the #1 selling drink in convenience stores for the
Here in
past,
Korea? Wow.
past couple of years. And so I had fun doing this shoot. We actually went to the factory, the main factory, which is a little right outside of Seoul. And we saw the production process from the bottling to the packaging. And we actually had to go through strict hygiene measures. You can see me there wearing the netted hat, the foot covers, and we actually had to go through the systems where they would blow air on you, make sure that we are clean to go. And we also went through some filming restrictions, actually. Some of the areas there, you know, it was confidential or top secret with their ingredients and their equipment.
And you just got me craving for the banana flavored milk. And
Me too.
Simeon, you also did a story on a particular snack, right?
Yes. More recently, I did a coverage on macadamia nut, following off of the nut craze, thanks to the now former executive, Korean Air executive, who went a bit of nut on plane over this nut.
Right, so you're not talking about the actual airline incident, but how viewers were, people were just snapping up macadamia nuts at the stores.
Right. Exactly. A lot of Koreans are familiar with their nuts, starting with peanut, almond, you name it. But macadamia nut wasn't that so much of a popular kind of a nut. But since this nut rage, everybody went to the shelves and got a taste of what macadamia nut tastes like.
Right, so you certainly got a culinary adventure on your reporting. And Connie, you actually went on a real journey.
Right, I actually took the opportunity to go abroad because we had a special project all the way in Jordan and to focus more on the Jordan and Korean ties. And so it was a little difficult trying to get interviews and scheduling done abroad, but it was fun. I had a great opportunity to meet different people and to learn a little bit of Arabic. And so this was the first time that I did a special documentary, half-hour documentary for Arirang TV.
That looks gorgeous.
But you guys were both covering the Sewol ferry accident. I mean, it was a very heartbreaking story for all of the Koreans and across the globe, of course. How was it like?
Yes, I've covered the story in Ansan, both in Ansan and Seoul here. At the hospital Ansan where I was covering the story, every time I went to that Korea Ansan University Hospital, I would see a number of cars and buses and ambulances coming into the hospital. And I think it was my first time ever seeing an ambulance or ambulances entering the hospital with no siren. And a lot of emotions were being poured out by their family members, their friends, and it's just very emotional as they were trying to cope with the situation. I mean, the word cope doesn't really fit in because they're just faced with this hard truth.
They were very helpless and, you know, trying to recover from their losses.
Exactly, and the emotions that they were going through were very mixed. It started from the emotions of loss, the feeling of loss, to emotions of loss, to anger and to sorrow, and having to enter their emotional phase was also difficult trying to cover the story.
It was a very surreal experience to actually meet the families who were mourning the loss of their children. And so it was a tough time for us, but it was a tougher time for those families there.
Right, and we certainly saw you guys go through so much to cover that tragic incident. And I feel like, if there is a silver lining, you guys did grow a lot in terms of reporters and doing a lot of justice for the families. Well, thank you so much, Semin and Connie, for joining us tonight. And
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys.
All right, and still to come, we have our very own chef in the studio to teach you how to make Korea's traditional New Year's dish of tteokguk, and of course, our New Year's countdown and more performances by Winter Play, so stay tuned.
Can I have your name and where you're from?
Nobody? 연세! 잠깐만 끊지 말아봐요.
Yes, I can hear.
여보세요? 잘 들립니다.
아니 근데 지금 바로 잠깐 팔려나? Remaining 30% as part of efforts to overhaul the government system.
이 시간이 나는 쉴 수 있는 시간이라서 너무 좋아.
잠깐만요. 몰라. 알았다고. The Netherlands has been selected as the next host country for the conference on cyberspace.
For-profit subsidiaries at hospitals, the Korean Medical Association, which has about 70,000.
And after that incident, more severe cases were reported nationwide over the past week.
나 나오면서 어디까지 나와? It's highly likely that Pyongyang will conduct a ballistic missile launch. 좋았는데.
완전 좋네. 완전 좋아. 좋습니다.
팀원이 버스 이용하실 때 팀원이 교통카드 사용하세요? 좀 부탁드릴게요. 30초면 되는 답변.
Why did you decide to participate in the project and how did you feel about the final version? So could you share how you felt?
스탠바이. 마이크 제대로 잡고 있고요. 자, 스탠바이. 움직이면 안 돼요. DB 넘어가기 때문에.
그럼 발 벗을까? This is the biggest solar power plant in the capital that started operating this summer.
네, 안녕하세요. 여기 아리랑 TV인데요. 네, 안녕하세요. 여기 아리랑 TV인데요. 여기 아리랑 TV인데요.
이게 안 되겠다. 어떡해.
Well, as you can see, our newsroom was buzzing this year, but so was our entire station, from expanding our reach to millions of more households around the world to creating innovative new programs. Here's a look at how we brought Korea to you.
Korea's leading global broadcaster, Arirang TV. Since launching in 1997, it has been broadcasting around the clock, reaching roughly 112 million households around the world with the latest on what's unfolding in Korea. From news, culture, to entertainment, it reaches out to a wide global audience with a vast array of programs. This year especially highlighted its enhanced news coverage. Arirang News delivered to its viewers the latest updates on Korea from its newsroom.
Commonly referred to as the Korean Thanksgiving.
The live morning news show, Korea Today, offered a fresh take on what people in Korea are waking up to every day.
Hello and welcome to Upfront. I am
While the in-depth debate show, Upfront, brought viewers a wide range of viewpoints on key issues developing in the country. The tragic ferry sinking that claimed so many lives. Pope Francis's visit, the first papal visit to Korea in 25 years. And the 2014 Korea-ASEAN Commemorative Summit. Arirang TV dedicated special programming and coverage, bringing viewers live updates throughout the year. Other programs on travel, food, and arts also received a lot of love this year.
All women in Korea have the same thing after giving birth.
The new program, My Little Kitchen, offered simple recipes for foreigners, drawing a lot of attention from foreign viewers. In addition, Arirang Prime and Arirang Special offered viewers a wealth of rich and educational documentaries. The Arirang Special, The Song of Grey Roof Tiles, was handpicked as the program of May in the new media category by the Korea Communications Standards Commission. Arirang Prime's Bulbokjang, placing history in Buddha statues, celebrated its win of a top award at the 22nd Buddhism Cultural Media Awards. With an ever-growing fan base of Korea's Hallyu trends, entertainment shows took the lead in providing an outlet for communication with fans from all parts of the world. At the forefront, the show After School Club, which is open to participation for everyone around the world in real time, continued to enjoy popularity this year. K-Populous was a new addition to the lineup, introducing new and up-and-coming artists with global appeal. Arirang TV received recognition as a public interest channel by America's broadcast satellite service provider, DirecTV, being added to its lineup as the first Korean broadcaster under that category. This has given the station a better opening into the U.S. market. The documentaries Splendid But Sad Days and Fukushima, Is There a Way Out, produced by Arirang, were invited to the documentary festival in France called Focus Corée, highlighting growing interest from other countries. Arirang TV has been reaching out to its viewers around the world for better communication and interaction. And in the coming year, 2015, it will continue on this journey as Korea's global broadcaster, offering viewers a better look at what's unfolding in the country.
On New Year's Day, Koreans eat rice cake soup called tteokguk. Why? The main ingredient of the dish is karetok, which is long cylinder-shaped rice cake that symbolizes longevity. When cut, the karetok looks like coins symbolizing wealth. The white color of tteokguk is another reason why Koreans eat the dish, reflecting people's hopes for a bright new year. Now, who wants to make some tteokguk?
All right, let's get to it. And joining me here is Chef Andrew Meyer from South Carolina. Thanks for being here, Andrew.
My pleasure.
So what are the ingredients that you have prepared for the tteokguk?
Okay, so for our rice cake soup, we have our ingredients in three parts. We have our stock ingredients, our rice cake, and our garnishes.
So could we let the camera see the garnishes? Very colorful.
So our garnishes, we have our roasted seaweed, our julienne carrots,
I see,
green onions, egg, mushrooms, and sesame seeds.
It's interesting that we don't see any meat here.
Yeah, sometimes for the new year, I like to start off with a no meat meal. Just keep it really pure, clean, and healthy.
And I also heard that you prepared another dish for us to share, and what you usually eat in South Carolina, right?
Yep. In the American South, we also eat something that symbolizes wealth. We have three things. We have our beans, which symbolize the coins, our collard greens, kale, or mustard greens that look like dollar bills, and we usually have cornbread on the side, which is gold.
So that's also a vegetarian dish, right?
It can be vegetarian. A lot of the South likes pork. And so a lot of families will put either ham or bacon in it too.
So just like the tteokguk that you're about to make today, right? So why don't you start off...
Okay. So for the stock, we will start with our kombu seaweed. We'll put our seaweed in.
Okay. Do you need any help?
I can hand it to you, and you can add it in. Then next we'll have
so I can
our
participate,
carrots.
My hands are clean, guys.
You're so eager to get ready in the kitchen.
Are you sure you're going to be a help there, though?
Yeah. My hands are clean. Don't worry, guys.
Next, we'll add our garlic.
Okay, great, fantastic. Just pour them in, all in together. Okay.
Put them all in.
Okay, that is not. I'll use my hand.
Use your hands.
And our dried shiitake mushrooms.
These are the secret, right?
Yes.
Of your recipe.
One of the things I love about the food in Korea is the abundance of mushrooms. Mushrooms in the U.S. are a little bit expensive, but in Korea they're so cheap and so plentiful.
So is that does that make it taste like meat?
Yes, the mushrooms have a lot of savoriness, which.
So that's his secret ingredient to make it vegetarian.
I know,
but tastes
still
like
meaty, or you've got that depth of flavor.
So we also added the green onions and some daikon radish.
So any special guidelines you want to give our viewers to make tteokguk?
Yeah, so when you are making the stock, it's important to simmer it, not to boil it. If you boil it, your flavors can become muddy, and the flavor won't be very clear. If you simmer it with just a few bubbles, your stock will come out crystal clear and really flavorful and clean.
So this is now boiling, right?
We can start to boil.
Yeah, let's. don't we start boiling?
Turn our...
Is this going to be the start of the very beginning of the tteokguk that we're about to eat?
And so after you start your stock, you want to soak your rice cake in water for about 30 minutes, which is perfect because our stock will take about 30 minutes.
But Andrew, I mean, like, we are talking a lot about food today here, but what is it like to usher in the new year here in Korea? I mean, you're not with your family, are you?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not with my family in Korea, but I have a lot of really great friends. And so my friends are taking the role of my family.
So will you share this tteokguk with your friends maybe tomorrow?
Yep, we've already made plans for a late lunch tomorrow.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this tteokguk. And while Andrew finishes cooking, let's go to Jesse. Jesse, what are you up to now?
Hello guys, I am here on the street in Gyeongnidan to ask some people about their New Year's resolutions. So I'm here with Lawrence and Juhyun.
Bonjour.
And where are you from?
I'm from France, Paris, of course, the romantic city.
Yes.
And I'm with Juhyun.
And you're from Korea?
Yes.
Okay, so what is your New Year's resolution?
So my New Year's resolution is I'm here like 3 weeks in Korea, and for Juhyun I want to be here 3 years. So that's my new resolution, basically.
Wow, so it's a very romantic New Year's resolution. You want to stay here to be with her, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, she's with me, so I want to enjoy her.
Wow, well, it will be a great 2015 for you guys, and I wish you all the best. A romantic and amazing 2015.
Paris. You should come to Paris. You know, Paris is also a romantic city, so you're very welcome.
Well, I will be sure to go there someday myself.
Okay.
All right, back to you guys in the studio.
Au revoir.
Wow, thanks, Jesse.
Some French visitors, very cool.
Yeah, well, Jesse, you have to brave the cold throughout the whole night, so don't get tired, too early. And for those of you joining us just now, this is Arirang's New Year's Eve live special broadcast. And you know what? We're about 20 minutes away from ringing in the new year. But before we get ready for the countdown, we're going to get a recap of what exciting news happened in the world of arts and culture and sports, right? For that, we're now joined by our Im Yoon-hee and SJ. Hello, guys.
Good to see you guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Too. Right, so 2014, first of all, had some major dramatic ups and downs. Of course, the arts and culture community was unable to escape the effects of the Seoul ferry tragedy. We saw a lot of cancellations of events and shows and exhibitions. But the effects are actually still seen to this day. However, a lot of artists really were able to respond and create some memorable works. So 2014 had a range of different performances and shows. Here's a flashback of some of the major highlights from this year.
8,765 hours of singing, 365 days of dancing, 12 months of things we've seen, and some things we've never seen before. 1 year of life, a year colored by the arts and culture of our world. You learn from your past, but also from the past of others. This year saw the production of performances based on major historical events. The musical hero immortalized Korea's historical nationalist An Jung-geun and sang his dramatic story of patriotism and self-sacrifice, all for the sake of peace.
An wanted to create peace between Japan, China, and Korea. For this musical, I wanted to depict that deep meaning.
And through the arts and culture, these historical moments and figures live on, the memories of An Jung-geun, a true hero, to never be forgotten. But there's just so much to learn from history, and it's not always from textbooks. A precious collection of maps were gathered for an exhibition, the first of its kind. Maps that all point to an East Sea, or Sea of Korea. Maps that serve as a source of truth for both Korea and the world's history. But the arts also go beyond the performance. It's weaved into every day of our lives, jumping over any and all barriers. Architecture is just one of those aspects where art has blurred the lines. The group Munjibang show that they have both the talent and creativity to build a bridge between reality and fantasy with their piece Shinseon Play. And fashion is of course another source of art that we encounter on a daily basis. We're not always dressed for the catwalk, but for some, the body is a blank canvas. Yet some artists have even evolved past any canvas at all. The once still masterpiece works of Vincent van Gogh stepped onto new terrain when they burst to life through technology and tens of projectors in what is being dubbed new media art. The arts and culture of our lives. It's a flurry of people, things, and ideas. A unique collaboration between two very different countries, two entirely different cultures collided in one of the most beautiful performances we saw this year, a whirlwind that left behind the hybrid performance called Vortex.
In many levels we have this vortex, ancient, contemporary kind of handshake, which is also for me a vortex. Finland and Korea meeting its vortex.
The reputable Finnish choreographer is well versed in Western-style dance, but also follows an organic movement inspired by nature, low to the ground, very similar to Korean traditional-style dance. And to round out the year of successful collaborations, true masters from various fields of photography, dance, and even fashion came together for the Skywalk project, where all that once was is no longer applicable, and it's okay to leave a few questions unanswered.
It's not about answering the previous artists' questions or following in their footsteps. The future of art is about asking questions about their questions and experimenting so that there's always the unknown.
2014 held many ups and downs, many stories of success with some bumps along the way. But it's each one of these performances that allow for another. Artworks and creations that pave a path for progress into the future.
So Uni, let's talk about K-pop now. 2014 certainly had a few musical events that really challenged this conventional formula that we've seen these days.
Right, so some of the things that took place this year were collaborations, music collaborations between some major artists. One that really caught my eye was between the singer Rain and Taejina. That was a fun collaboration. They remade the song, the La song. But at the same time, the 90s superstar Seo Tae-ji, he also made a comeback this year, but he went about it in a very interesting manner. He actually made a collaboration with the singer IU, and they produced the song 서격동, and that's actually the first time he did a collaboration with any artist at all. So that, of course, sparked many people's attention. But, you know, Seo Tae-ji was such a big artist, so of course that really did.
I know, he made a huge comeback, right? And
right.
Speaking of comebacks, there were quite a few this year, not just solo singers, but also groups, right?
So 2014 was definitely the year for comebacks, especially from singers in the 90s. And so not only Seo Tae-ji, but also Kim Dong-ryu, along with Yoon Sang, both singer-songwriters, they made big comebacks as well with new albums. But some groups to take note of, Fly to the Sky as well as G.O.D, they made comeback albums with some concerts as well. And so G.O.D actually was so successful, they added more concerts and even took their concerts abroad.
Well, you know, Uni, aside from successful comebacks of 90s singers, I guess we had some losses this year as well, right?
Of course. Some big downs this year. There was the death of a very legendary singer, Shin Choi. You know, that was a huge thing that really, really touched the hearts of many. So he passed away so early at the age of 46 this year, this past October, right? And so he's another, like Seo Tae-ji, another iconic singer-songwriter of the 90s. And even until today, he was still, or even until nowadays, he was still producing music. He actually said that he was working on a new project that followed Western-style music while keeping the beauty of Korean language. But unfortunately, that project, you know, won't be completed.
That's a pity.
Yeah, certainly. And we had a big change in one of the hottest K-pop groups this year.
And I think you're talking about Girls' Generation, or former member Jessica. So her depart from the group, that made headlines as well. That was big news for a lot of people, came as a shocker. And so she talked about leaving for the group. She wanted to get married, but there was some controversy behind that. But definitely a lot of things going on with that as well.
So I guess this is the most important question of this segment. So what are we expecting in the coming year in the arts and entertainment?
Right.
Yes.
So next year, something really to keep your eye on is the musical market. A lot of things going on there. So this year saw a lot of growth, but next year has potential for even more growth. So we saw an explosion, and despite this Seoul Ferry tragedy, the musical market was able to push on. So that was really a big factor. So next year, they're going to be showing big musicals like Notre Dame de Paris. Right now, they're showing Kinky Boots and Once, which are both award-winning musicals. So that's the thing that you want to catch while they're in town. But on the domestic front, we also have some activity going on there. And so they have some musicals, Hero and Frankenstein. They were shown earlier this year, and they're going to be produced abroad next year.
Right, and I've always said Seoul is definitely one theater town. You have like from the independent to the glossy Broadway musicals. Thanks so much, Junie, for sharing that report with us.
You're very welcome.
And of course, 2014 was also a busy year in the world of sports, and we have our sports guy SJ here with us. We had the Sochi Winter Olympics, the Incheon Asian Games, and
the Brazil
World Cup. Like, how could you have all those in one year?
Really, throughout the year, it went by so fast because it really was busy for myself and also my colleagues as well. But despite all that happened throughout the year, I think 2014 was really a year of hellos and goodbyes. You're probably like, what?
I agree with
you. But we'll find out what I'm talking about as we take a look at our next report.
It's been a year of hellos and goodbyes as the sports world saw some of the younger athletes thrive in 2014 and some of the biggest names in sports announce their retirement. First off, the retirement news in 2014. Making a splash during the 2002 Korea-Japan World Cup, Park Ji-sung paved the way for Korean footballers as he made his European debut with PSV Eindhoven before his move to the EPL's Manchester United. After years of success in the European stage, Park Ji-sung retired from the sport this year, playing his final match with the team that started it all, PSV Eindhoven. But what bigger news than the retirement announcement of figure queen Kim Yeon-ah, who decided to make the Sochi Winter Olympics her final stage. Winning a gold medal in the Vancouver Winter Games in 2010 and setting world records, she paved the way for the younger generation here in Korea, becoming a pioneer for figure skating. A controversial silver medal finish tainted her final stage, but her legacy will go on. But despite the sad departures of two of the biggest names in sports, 2014 was a year of young stars storming through the sporting world. In golf, two teenagers tore it up on the golf course as 17-year-old Lydia Ko and 19-year-old Kim Hyo-ju took the spotlight in 2014. The Korean-New Zealander Lydia Ko became the youngest rookie of the year, capping an incredible season by winning the CME Tour Championship and winning $1.5 million, the highest payout in women's golf history. And then there was Kim Hyo-ju, who won 4 majors in 2014, 3 in the KLPGA, and 1 in the LPGA with the Arirang Championship as she looks to continue her success in 2015. But who can forget about rhythmic gymnast Son Yeon-jae, who captivated the nation with her 4 gold medals in the Lisbon World Cup in April, followed by Korea's first medal at the World Championship, then winning the nation's first gold medal in rhythmic gymnastics at the Incheon Asian Games. And lastly, it wasn't just the young female athletes who dominated in 2014. There was the 25-year-old Seok Chang of the Nexon Heroes. The second baseman set a new KBO record with 201 base hits and won the KBO MVP and other numerous awards as the former Rookie of the Year hopes to continue his success in the 2015 season. 2014, a year of hellos and goodbyes, but more importantly, a big year in sports.
So definitely a big year. A lot of, well, like you said, hellos and goodbyes. But out of all those stories, which one really resonated with you, SJ?
I think this name is probably the biggest name that comes out when it comes to sports, but not just sports. I actually did a research recently, and they said one of the names that was searched the most on the internet was Kim Yeon-ah. And I think we talk about Kim Yeon-ah not just in sports, but in entertainment world as well. I know she had some, relationship with a hockey player, which unfortunately ended soon. But, for Kim Yeon-ah, I think the Sochi Winter Games, that being her final stage, she said she was going to retire after the Sochi Winter Games. And we kind of expected her to, go off on a gold medal.
Yes, went on the high note.
Right.
I mean, when you looked at her training, it looked like she did not let up from the previous Olympics. Like
Right.
she was primed to win.
And everyone thought she was going to win, obviously.
Right.
It would have been a great way to say goodbye, win that gold medal. But unfortunately, I think that story was the biggest story of the year when it comes to sports.
It was full of controversy.
Exactly,
And
that
it was
silver medal finish.
a bit unresolved for a lot of fans.
Even after the Sochi Winter Games, what happened was that the KOC, the Korea Olympic Committee, what they tried to do is challenge the judges' ruling, saying that, I think there was some unfairness going on. They saw Adelina Sotnikova of Russia, who won the gold medal, hug one of the judges. That was one of the controversies that came out.
They had a personal relationship from
Exactly,
before.
and
Which
there was a
didn't look
controversy
good.
there. It didn't look good, but unfortunately they couldn't reverse that. And I think, even after the Sochi Winter Games, I was covering this, and I had a lot of emails getting from our viewers, and there were some who were very angry, obviously, with the results, and there were, obviously fans of Adelina Sotnikova emailing me, going, "Stop covering this. It's over.
Right, it's over.
It's over now, right?"
Yeah.
But Kim Yeona, as great of a sportsmanship that she has, she said, "I'll accept this silver medal." But despite the tainted retirement, I think her legacy will definitely go on.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they don't call her the Queen of the Ice for nothing. She really handled that with a lot of class and grace.
did.
So, if anything, she went out with a gold medal for etiquette.
Did you get to meet her by any chance?
Well, I always tried. There's a lot of athletes, and I did a lot lot of interviews throughout the year,
With her.
but not with her.
Not with her.
Maybe 2015 would be my
Sorry.
New Year's resolution, right?
To meet Kim Yeona.
I hope. But she's a very popular athlete.
Of course.
She's a great, and she's always very busy. Maybe one of those athletes to meet possibly.
Yeah,
in
and
the
she
year.
shot a ton of advertisements too.
Right, exactly.
So she's a busy woman.
2014 was a busy year. I mean,
Right.
not just Kim Yeona. So what is 2015 going to look like?
Well, 2015, it's going to have a lot of different events that's going to take place, actually. It's not going to be as busy as 2014, but obviously some events to look forward to. But before that, taking a look at, you talked about some of the athletes that I had a chance to interview, right?
Right.
And I think what's interesting is because one of the events that took place this year was the Incheon Asian Games, which was big, obviously, here in Korea. And there was two athletes that I had a chance to interview, one of whom was Kim Young-kyung, as we see here. This was the interview. She's a huge volleyball star and captain of the national team. She had a great Asian Games. This was Min Byung-hun of the Doosan Bears from the national baseball team. And what's great is the fact that these two athletes had a chance to meet right before the Asian Games. They had one of the best performances, and also they were both able to win a gold medal, so it definitely was a very special interview.
You must have been really honored to interview them before the games.
Well, they're not Kim Yeona, but they're still gold medalists,
Oh,
right?
come
They were
on.
still gold medalists.
Yeah.
Still
They
gold
work
medalists.
They work for their medals, so
That's
we gotta
right.
give credit for them, All right, SJ.
So what are you looking forward to next year?
Well, it's not going to be as busy, like I said, 2014, but 2015 is still going to be quite busy. We have the Asian Cup coming up January 9th, which is right around the corner. Come July, there's going to be the Gwangju University, which is kind of like the University Olympics, and the PGA President's Cup coming to Korea in Incheon in October for the first time in Asia. So big events there.
A lot. And we've seen a lot of growth in baseball, basketball, some of the big sports. But what's your hope for some of the lesser known Korean sports that are still developing? What do you think is really going to take to the stage in 2015?
Come 2018 is going to be the Pyeongchang Winter Games, right? Obviously a huge event. So I think what the government and also what the Korean Olympic Committee, what they're trying to do is trying to push all these lesser known, not the figure skating or the short track or the speed skating, but maybe bobsleigh, luge. In fact, starting this year, the military teams, if you're an athlete and you need to serve military service, you go to Sangmu, which is the military team. And for the first time, they're going to add a sledding team, bobsleigh, luge, and skeleton.
For the first time.
So I think, for the first time ever. So hopefully those, winter sports that don't get covered as much as figure skating or other sport, I hope this year will be the year that kind of get that push.
So the city and the government is trying hard to actually engage more winter sports games into the Olympics, I guess.
Right, exactly. And I know Uni is a huge fan of tennis, and she's probably going to push
I know,
tennis.
actually not a winter sport.
I know she's always like, why aren't you covering tennis? Why aren't you covering tennis?
I'm a little bit hurt about that. Any new upcoming tennis players?
And actually, Sean is a good
You know what?
Fabulous
You
tennis
and I
player.
will have to like support the tennis market.
Okay.
All
we'll work
right,
on that, we'll
guys.
work on that.
We all have our favorite
All right.
sports, right? But thank you so much for you two for coming
Always
in.
a pleasure.
And Happy New Year. And
Happy
we look
New
forward
Year.
to your works in our near future,
All
obviously
right.
next year,
Well,
right?
we'll be
okay.
here.
Thanks for coming in.
Happy New
It
Year's.
was a pleasure.
All right, so we're 1.5 minutes from the countdown
Wow.
to 2015. As you can see on the screen, people are very much eagerly awaiting the ringing of the bell. New
know.
hope for the new
There
year.
are so many people there.
Yeah, they're braving the freezing cold
And you
weather
know this
just to see the
firsthand.
ceremony.
'Cause
Yes.
we connected to you, was it last
I know,
year or
no,
2 years ago?
Oh, it was
2
2
years
years
ago,
ago
and I was
already.
bare hands, and Sean was telling me, "Girl, you look so cold over
Right.
there."
Because you had your script on your iPad.
I know.
And you didn't have the touch-enabled mittens, so you had to use your bare fingers.
And I remember you
looked
promising me to give the special gloves that can use the iPad
You did.
and stay warm
and
at
you
the
don't
same
keep
time.
Your promise,
I guess.
Sean.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
Gia, I'll buy you those.
well, because you came into the studio the next year.
Did I,
I
Sean?
think so. I think so. We rang the
Okay.
New Year's together here
Yes.
in the studio. But yeah, we are almost 30 seconds away
30
now.
seconds.
So 2014 is almost gone. Is there anything you just want to cling on to from 2014 or let go from 2014?
You know, I actually want my daughter to stop growing. She's so
my
cute
goodness.
right now. And, you know, if she starts growing more and more next year, it's going to be, oh, you know, you got to be.
Mama bear going on
Yeah,
here.
she is. So you're
Sorry,
looking right
guys.
now at Pushingak Temple. Here we go for the countdown.
Okay,
10, 7, 6,
5,
4, 3, 2,
and
1. Happy New Year,
guys. Happy New Year.
Yeah. And so we are probably going to go to see what the latest conditions are with SOA over at Pushingak. But that's about 100,000 people watching this bell ringing. So this bell ringing is ushering in the new year. It's going to be rung 33 times with the mayor, Park Won-soon, in the front, and some other dignitaries and notable people in the back.
Wow.
Right.
And they do this every year, right?
Every year.
Every year.
And that's the Seoul mayor that Sean just said.
Mayor Park Won-soon?
So when you were here live covering this GA, like what is the atmosphere there like?
I mean, it's really festive over there. I mean, it's really, really cold, but you really can't feel the coldness because it's so, you know,
So many people there.
I know, and it's so festive, so loud, full of music,
We're
full of
seeing
people.
Busan.
So
And that's
we're
over
going
there.
to our correspondents in Busan and Yangyang. So Busan seems like they're getting is that confetti?
Yeah, it's confetti. And it must be warmer there, so.
It must be. It must be.
Okay.
So,
Well, Soa was. Are we going to connect to Soa now, guys?
we hope so.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
hoping.
she's been standing by
She's been
over there
standing-
in the cold, and
Since the morning, I
a lot of
think.
people are waiting
Right.
for all the festivities to continue. So, Soa, how is it?
Happy New Year, guys. We are literally ringing in 2015. You can hear, you can see the bell being ringed here. It's ringing right now still. This is marking the beginning of year 2015. And the event is going to continue in the next 30 minutes. All across the country, people are enjoying this special moment. And not only Koreans, but also foreigners are enjoying the celebration here. And I am joined here by 4 friends from Norway. So what makes you come to Pushingak and celebrate New Year's Eve, the new year?
We've heard so many good things about this place, and that is a really famous place to celebrate the New Year's Eve. And it's really different from Norway, because in Norway people usually stay home with their families. So we wanted to try something new, and I think this is a really exciting way to celebrate the New Year's Eve.
That is very different from back home, I guess. So how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really excited to be here and see the Korean culture. It's really good.
All right, and you, I heard you learned a word, a phrase in Korean.
새해 복 많이 받으세요.
Which means?
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year it is! Thank you, guys. All right, Happy New Year and goodbye year 2014. I wish everyone a very, very Happy New Year, a great beginning to the new start. And I'm going to head away and enjoy the celebration. So back to you guys in the studio. This has been Kwon So-ah reporting live at Bosinggak Pavilion, Seoul.
All right, thanks So-ah for braving the cold and bringing us what it was like over there in Bosinggak. Please, safe travels back home, right?
And stay warm.
Yes. And now let's take this time to hear what our President Park Geun-hye had to say as she enters her third year in office in 2015. Here's her New Year's message.
존경하는 국민 여러분, 2015년 을미년 희망찬 새해가 밝았습니다. 국민 여러분 모두 꿈과 희망이 결실을 맺는 한 해가 되기를 기원합니다. 올해는 우리나라가 광복 70주년과 분단 70년을 동시에 맞는 역사적인 해입니다. 지난 70년을 돌아보면 국민 모두가 불굴의 의지로 합심해서 한강의 기적을 이루어냈고 자유민주주의를 지키고 발전시켜 왔습니다. 그리고 이제 우리는 새로운 대한민국의 70년을 시작하는 출발점에 서 있습니다. 우리의 선배 세대들이 그러했듯이 후손들에게 당당하고 자랑스러운 대한민국을 물려줄 역사적 책무가 우리에게 주어져 있다고 생각합니다. 이를 위해서는 우선 경제의 활력을 회복하는 일이 시급한 과제라고 생각합니다. 지난해 국민 여러분과 함께 어렵게 살려낸 경제 회복의 불꽃을 크게 살려내고 창의와 혁신의 기반을 둔 경제로 체질을 바꿔가면서 국민소득 4만 불 시대를 여는 기반을 다져가겠습니다. 깨끗하고 안전하고 신뢰할 수 있는 사회로 나아가기 위해 오랫동안 쌓여온 적폐를 해소하는 일도 흔들림 없이 추진할 것입니다. 튼튼한 안보를 바탕으로 단절과 갈등의 분단 70년을 마감하고 신뢰와 변화로 북한을 이끌어내서 실질적이고 구체적인 통일 기반을 구축하고 통일의 길을 열어갈 것입니다. 그 길을 가는 데 있어 무엇보다 중요한 것이 국민 여러분의 하나된 마음이라고 생각합니다. 산을 만나면 길을 내고 물을 만나면 다리를 놓는다는 옛말처럼 우리가 혁신과 전진을 향한 의지와 역량을 한데 모은다면 저는 어떤 어려움도 이겨낼 수 있다고 믿습니다. 새해 국민 여러분과 함께 모든 어려움을 풀어나가게 되기를 바랍니다. 국민 여러분께서도 소망하시는 일 모두 이루시고 변화와 희망의 새 시대를 열어가는데 함께 힘을 모아주시기 바랍니다. 을미년 새해 축복이 넘치는 한 해가 되시기를 기원드립니다.
I just want to wish everyone a happy, healthy, and hearty 2015, and we'll see you next year.
Three Musketeers right here, and we have to say that 2014 has just been a fabulous year.
And we wish you everybody a happy new year, and everything goes well for the new year as well. We wish you that.
Happy New Year!
Hello, I'm Na Hyun-kyung. From me and everybody else on the news team of Early Edition at 6, we wish you a very happy new year. May all your wishes come true in the new year.
We look forward to another exciting journey into a new year, 2015. Bye-bye.
Stay tuned to, of course, Arirang News as well as Upfront in 2015.
I just want to wish you guys all a happy new year, a blessed 2015. Hope you guys have an amazing and blessed year. See you guys soon. Bye.
Hey guys, I'm the host for Pops and Soul, Tasha. Well, I hope you guys have a lovely new year with your family. Bye.
Thank you very much for your love and support every single day, and I want to wish all of you a beautiful 2015. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, I'm Eli from UKISS, and I'm also your host for Simply K-Pop. Please keep supporting Arirang TV, Simply K-Pop, and UKISS. Thank you guys so much. Happy New Year's.
For 15 years now, Heart to Heart has been bringing leaders from all walks of life to the living rooms of our viewers. We thank you for joining us and hope that you'll be with us in the new year as well. Happy New Year!
Happy holidays! Woohoo!
Hope you guys have an amazing year.
See you next year.
See you in 2015.
언제부터인지 그댈 멀게 느낀 건 다른 누군가와 함께 있는 걸 본 후 하얀 눈이 내린 겨울밤에 그의 품에 안긴 모습이 나의 가슴 속에 너무 깊이 남아있기 때문에 힘든 이별이란 말을 전할 수밖에 아무 생각할 수 없어 그저 돌아설 뿐 조금 기다려줘 나를 아직 내겐 너무나 가슴 벅찬 일인 걸 다시 사랑할 수 있을 때까지 그대 생각해줘 나를 지난 겨울 어느 날 함께 지내왔던 날들을 그리움의 눈물 흘러내릴 때까지 How can I wait for you? Won't you come back to me? Don't you know that I love you? 언제까지일까 그댈 잊고 사는 건 이미 나를 잊은 채로 살고 있을까 지금 다시 눈이 내리지만 아무 말도 없는 것 그댈 보고 싶은 마음에 난 다시 생각하지만 그날 그 모습을 잊을 수가 없기에 아무 생각할 수 없어 그저 기다릴 뿐 조금 기다려줘 나를 이해할 수 있을 때까지 그대 기다릴 수 있다면 그리 오랜 시간만은 아닌 걸 그대 생각해줘 나를 하얀 눈을 맞으며 홀로 서 있는 모습은 그리움의 눈물 흘러내릴 때까지 How can I wait for you? Won't you come back to me? How can I wait for you? Won't you come back to me? How can I wait for you? Won't you come back to me?
That was awesome.
Good song.
Yeah, very lucky that they were here.
Winterplay.
And much thanks to Winterplay for that wonderful song. And I think it's about time for us to get a check on Jessie, who's out, and about Seoul tonight. Jessie, what are you at? Where are you at, actually?
Happy New Year! It is officially 2015 and I am here at Seoul Tower. You can see the beautiful view behind me of Seoul and it's a great place to be for New Year's. And right now what we've got around me is truly a global gathering. We've got people from all over the world who have come here to Seoul Tower to celebrate the New Year's. Now, that's got me thinking as well about my New Year's resolutions for 2015, and after meeting that beautiful couple in Gyeongnidan, I'm thinking maybe 2015 is my year to meet someone special, and also, I'd like to study Korean more and learn more Korean. So, you guys were asking before about a picture of Seoul Tower. Well, it's right here, as you can see. So hope you enjoy that view, and it's been a great 2014 on Arirang TV. I look forward to a happy and prosperous 2015, and I wish you guys have a great 2015 as well. Back to you.
Well, thanks, Jesse. And moving on, in the coming year, we leave the horse behind to enter the year of the sheep. And for those of you unfamiliar with these ancient signs, our Kim Min-ji tells us about this furry animal's symbolic meaning and what we can expect in the year of the sheep.
2015 is a year of the sheep, according to the zodiac calendar, and the animal is associated with peace and protection. Those born under this sign, who on top of their good fortune, are also considered to be honest and just in nature. Many global figures such as Steve Jobs, Julia Roberts, and Zhang Zi were born in sheep years.
People born in the year of the sheep are said to be generous, kind-hearted, and easily touched by the misfortunes of others.
The sheep in modern times has widely carried the image of being soft and mild-mannered, but under the zodiac, it's known to mean much more.
Sheep were believed to have two roles. It acted as a god that keeps time and defense, and was also put on tombs to act as a guardian. The Chinese character for sheep can also be seen in the characters for beauty, sacrifice, and kindness.
And to commemorate the year of the sheep, the National Folk Museum of Korea is holding a special exhibit with dozens of artifacts that highlight the cultural importance and meaning of the animal over the years. But what people really want to know is, will 2015 bring good luck and success? A renowned fortune teller believes that it will, and says the new year is shaping up to be a better year for Korea than 2014.
The president's fortune is looking good, which means overall luck for the nation. This will bring positive developments to the economy and inter-Korean relations.
Most Koreans, meanwhile, are just hoping for the best.
I was born in the year of the sheep. Sheep are known to be calm and get along with others. I'm going on a foreign exchange program in 2015 and hope to get along with people there.
In the year of the sheep, I will study hard to get a scholarship and be good to my parents.
Unfortunately, around this time, not only do we get to reflect on the past, but also make a fresh start and possibly create our own luck in the new year.
Okay, so we're past midnight, and when this first day of the year comes around, a lot of us might wonder, are we going to see some of our policies change here in Korea? And how are these changes going to affect our everyday lives? Our Chi Myung-gil might have the answers.
It isn't going to be a good start to the year for smokers in the nation, as the price of a pack jumps on New Year's Day. The first tobacco price hike in a decade sees prices rise by around $1.80. That brings the average cost of a pack of cigarettes to over $4. And it doesn't stop there either. Smoking is now completely banned in all restaurants nationwide. People caught lighting up in prohibited zones could be slapped with a fine of up to $90. These measures were unveiled by the government in September in an attempt to reduce the country's high smoking rate. There are more changes too. From the start of the new year, families facing severe financial hardships will receive more help from the government as it expands the scope of people who can apply for welfare benefits. This includes a stronger safety net for destitute families. The changes were proposed after a mother and her two daughters committed suicide in February because of financial troubles. Korea has also upped efforts to curb greenhouse gas emissions. The government is making local companies follow a trading scheme, which requires businesses to reduce emissions or buy credits if they have difficulty meeting the targets. They'll be subject to emission restrictions from 2015 through 2017. The aggregate emissions quota for more than 500 businesses has been set at nearly 1.6 billion tons over the next 3 years. And from January 1st, tourists will be able to make use of a clearer and more convenient standard to help them select a suitable hotel. The Tourism Ministry has adopted the internationally recognized 5-star rating system. The move comes as Korea aims to better inform the 14 million foreign tourists that visit the country each year. Since 1999, hotel ratings in Korea have been voluntary and self-determined, garnering criticism and consumer complaints for being inconsistent and often inflated.
All right, I'm over here in the kitchen again to see how our chef, Andrew, is doing. So is the dish all ready now?
Yep, it's ready. We've added the rest of our mushrooms, our soy sauce, and our rice cake.
It's kind of a little brown.
Yeah, the soy sauce will color it a little bit brown. If you want a really white color, I would add more salt and leave out the soy sauce. But I think the soy sauce has a nicer flavor. It rounds out the dish.
I see. I can't wait to taste it. Can you give me some?
Yeah.
Like, can you pour a little bit in the bowl?
Yeah.
I can't wait to devour this, guys.
I bet you are.
You're complaining about the color being brown? It usually has a brown tint.
Really? But it's a little bit more brownish than I expected.
Well, that's probably because of the mushroom.
Just out of curiosity, Andrew. But we have to put all the garnishes, right?
Yes.
That's the whole point of this stuff.
So would you like to add the garnishes in your own style?
Maybe with chopsticks this time.
Make it pretty, Gia.
Yeah. So this is how it looks if anyone wants to see it. And so carrots. And then
some seaweed.
Okay, some seaweed. Okay.
And go ahead and add some eggs.
Okay, I love eggs,
especially
with the tteokguk. And
some scallions. You can use a spoon for the scallions.
Okay.
It'll be a little bit easier.
Great. Right. And yeah, and you can help me with that.
That's it. And then we'll pour a little bit of sesame seeds on top.
So is it my turn to taste it?
Go ahead.
Do I just mix it all together?
You can mix it up if you want.
Okay. Oh my gosh, it's very hot.
Don't drop it.
Okay, I shouldn't. It's really good. It's really well seasoned. I should taste the tteok, right? But
So, Chef, while
I'm sorry.
So, Chef Andrew, right now it's what, 12:21 a.m. And if people did not prepare for making this tteokguk tomorrow morning, and they have to go to the convenience store, how can they do I guess like a very quick version of it?
A very quick version. A lot of the well-stocked 7-Eleven, CUs, GS, 25s will have some basic vegetables. For this one, get whatever seaweed you can. The dashima works really well. Some mushrooms, they'll have those there, and some onions, and that'll make a really basic stock. And add your rice cake.
Throw some rice cakes, or if they don't even have that, maybe some dumplings. And
dumplings.
That's a good idea, and I'm pretty sure by our viewers watching me eating this, they would head to the convenience stores. I mean, to actually
24-hour open supermarkets, right?
Yeah. And I really want you guys to taste this as well. Why don't we?
Can't wait.
Could anyone help me with this? So
give Gia a hand.
Yes, please.
All right.
So I'll leave my bowl over here.
I think this is the first time I'm actually going to see whether this tteokguk goes well with sparkling wine or champagne.
Okay.
The champagne that you brought for us to celebrate the new year. Thanks, Sean.
But I have a feeling with this vegetarian recipe that actually it might
go well, right?
Taste all right.
Okay. I should first get this bowl, which
we're starving. Hurry over.
I know. I got a spoon out of this dish. Oops.
Oops, 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 oops.
Are you bringing one bowl to share for?
Yes, but I just want you to guys taste first.
It looks pretty good.
While our floor director brings the rest. Wow.
It looks very colorful. The color is great.
Yeah. It's like 5 different colors. Here you go, Sean.
Thank you.
Gentleman first.
Yes. And,
thank you, Jihae.
Another bowl,
All right,
please.
so let's take a taste.
Okay.
That's good. It actually does taste like there's a
Meat in
meat
it.
broth.
Does it?
It does work.
Okay.
It's a bit hot. I'm not
let's
a
try
big
to see
fan
what
of
it tastes
duck,
like.
but
I got a chance to taste
That's
it,
good.
so
That's perfect.
I'm fine with it.
And that's our New Year's. Wow,
Yes,
we
it
spent
is.
our New Year's together. Well,
we did.
thank you,
Happy
everyone.
New Year, guys.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
And hope everybody at home enjoyed our time spent going out of 2014, ringing in 2015.
And
you know, all of us.
You guys all try some tteokguk tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, hopefully. And you know what? All of us here at Arirang will give our best to bring you the best news you guys all deserve.
Again, Happy New Year all to you, and good night.
All right, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Good night.
Started out on the letter, but it was all she could take. Conversations she had before, but they're about to break. Somewhere along the line, she got more than she wanted.
Dynamic Busan.
Hello and welcome to Upfront. I'm Kang Tae.
Korea's recent issues on a debate show. Upfront. 3 experts engage in a heated discussion. Don't miss out.
Arirang.
This was me in college 7 years ago. Can you believe that? My relationship with my wife is probably the strongest relationship I've ever experienced in my entire life. She's the first face I get to see every day, and it just helps me tremendously. It gives me so much strength. She's my best friend. She is my love. She's the person I want to hang out with when I have free time. She's the best. To me, Korea is a home, but I almost feel like that doesn't do it justice. To me, Korea was the place where I really became an adult. Bundang feels like a small community. And if you've lived there for a while, you get familiar with the local people. It's not like a big city where everyone is kind of faceless. When I lived in Bundangdong, I would always go to the same corner store right outside of where my apartment was. And this same woman was there every day, and she always said, if you guys ever get married, you have to invite me to the wedding. Today we're gonna go over there and we're gonna give her the card, the invitation to the wedding.
잘 있었어요?
잘 있었어요.
잘
이모님께서는?
나도 잘 있었어요.
Living in a foreign country, having someone who's pretty much a stranger be that concerned about your well-being was really beautiful. You know, I felt pretty isolated and alone before I met Haejin, and this was someone who I could always go and just feel like, well, here's a person that cares about me.
살이 빼야 한다는 말씀을 하면서 왜 아이스크림 주시는 거예요?
오늘 먹고 내일부터 빼요. 내일부터 빼요.
I told you she's the coolest. I first met my wife in March of 2011. This is where I lived. And this is where she lived. When you don't have a common language with someone, there's really no way to make excuses with that person. Everything is judged by your behavior. She came across the hallway to knock on my door to tell me to be quiet. And that's how I met my wife. gradually, I decided there's a future for me with this woman. There's a future with her. And if that future is going to be realized, I have to learn Korean. I have to become fluent as fast as possible. The crazy thing is that I've never been a romantic, but here I am living this kind of, it's like a romantic movie concept. I never would have imagined before that I would be part of something this incredible. To me, Korea was the place that really saved my life.
Hello and welcome to the K-pop Central Pops in Seoul. I'm your VJ Tasha.
I'm your VJ Nakun. And I'm your VJ One Kind.
I'm your VJ Coco.
I'm your VJ Sam.
A music program with 5 hosts with 5 different styles. Get drawn into the world of K-pop.
Pops in Seoul.
Arirang.
Asia's heartbeat, Arirang.